Kristy, welcome to the Grow Healthy Help People podcast by Cordis. How's your day going?
Great, how are you?
I'm doing great. So, where are you joining from today?
We are in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee, East Tennessee. Have you been there your whole life? Are you new to the area?
Yes, I've been in Knoxville for almost 11 years now, but originally from Johnson City, Tennessee, where I started my career and grew up there.
Awesome. A fun fact for people that are not from the Tennessee area: East Tennessee, Johnson City, Tennessee is closer to Canada than it is to
Yes,
Memphis. So, Memphis is forever away across the state. Is it
it
what, like
is.
7 or 9 hours or something to drive from Johnson City to Memphis?
Yes, and the drive is incredibly boring. It
Yeah.
is very daunting when you do it.
Yeah. Tennessee's a huge state, but where you're calling in from today, and even further east of Johnson City, where you're from, is a beautiful, beautiful area. So tell me about a little bit about the Camp Coenidia Foundation. Rather than just jumping in and trying to tell us everything, tell us about how you got to the Camp Coenidia Foundation specifically.
Yeah, so I came to the foundation in March of 24. So was doing development work at another nonprofit. This job opened, and funny enough, my previous CEO from another nonprofit job was friends with the CEO leaving and told me to apply. So I did, and somehow convinced our board to hire me.
That worked. And remind me, when was that? How many years have you been there?
So March of 24, so almost a year and a half.
So you've got a little bit of an interesting profile. There's some people that are experience tragedy or joy or something, and out of that, they start their own nonprofit. You
Hmm.
kind of come in with a little bit of a different angle because you worked at various nonprofits for a decade or more. You're kind of a nonprofit industry expert. You know what you're doing in this space. What drew you to the foundation here?
Yeah. So what I loved about the Quantinia Foundation is we serve anybody with a disability. That could be someone who has ADHD all the way to somebody who's quadriplegic, nonverbal, has a feeding tube. We serve anybody, and we have a really niche programming where we focus on recreational. We call it purposeful fun here. So all of our things are fun, but it's so much more layered than that, and I really loved that.
Okay, so let's dive in now to really what you do and who you serve. So you just said you serve anybody with disabilities, but really dig into when you guys were started as a foundation and then what your programs look like today. And then we'll talk about some other admin stuff in a minute, but what do the programs look like today?
Yeah, so we were created in 2001 and purely as a foundation to support our program, Camp Quantinia. So that's done in partnership with the University of Tennessee. It was going to go away from the University of Tennessee, so we raised money to take it on. Thankfully, that did not happen. So our first 15 years of life was helping fund that program, Camp Quantinia, and eventually Quantinia Retreat, which is another type of camp. In 2016, we created our own program, our first one called We Adapt, which is social programming for adults with disabilities as they're transitioning out of high school. And then in 2022, we created a Quantinia Classroom to support special education teachers and students, specifically in the classroom.
Okay, so specifically helping this teachers be able to support their students. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Cool. Did you know anything about this space, the special needs area, the support area before you started there, or did you learn everything from the ground up?
Yeah, not on a professional level. I had a very high level knowledge, I would say. In school, I was a peer tutor, so worked with individuals with a disability, but I've really done a lot of my learning on the job and, really understanding different disabilities, what that looks like, and, how to make sure that they're seen as people first and not disability first.
I love that. Love that. So you mentioned a few minutes ago before we started recording that you didn't say this, I'll give you the title. You're a bit of a unicorn. You said that even in college and right after college, you loved the fundraising aspect, the development aspect of the nonprofits that you were involved in. Most people say, I'll do that if I absolutely have to, but I'd
Hmm.
almost rather die than have to raise funds. So tell
Yes.
me about that. What is your drive and your excitement about pulling people into the Koinonia Foundation or other organizations that people might be giving to? Like, what is the driver that makes you approach that with joy rather than with fear and trepidation?
Yeah, so I found my love for fundraising in college. The nonprofit I was at, they had an annual garden party, and so I started doing silent auctions, which in the nonprofit realm, you either love them or you hate them. Really, cut my teeth there of understanding what that looked like. But I think the best way for me to describe fundraising and just development in general, the reason I love it is because it's so fun and so exciting to help people see why the mission is so important and almost to see the light come on in their eyes when it clicks for them of, oh, I understand why this is important now. That's my favorite part of, I've worked a lot at nonprofits who are very small, very niche. Most people call them, oh, the hidden gem of Knoxville, or they don't know who we are. And I love that challenge of going and saying, this is what we do, this is why our work is so incredible. And then a donor or a volunteer or a corporate partner, they're like, oh, I get it now. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like you're serving them by informing them and giving them the opportunity to join the mission by giving or by volunteering time or whatever they want to volunteer or whatever they want to give. But if they don't know about it, they can't get involved and they can't experience the joy
Yeah.
of being involved in giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a
Oh,
good.
sorry. I always feel like, it's a privilege to be a part of, Quantania. We are doing a lot of really cool things and, we're out here, changing lives. And how cool is it that you get to be a volunteer, you get to be a donor. Because I feel that way as the executive director. I am lucky enough to be in this position and help move this organization forward.
Love it. So let's talk through some fundraising strategy. You mentioned silent auction a second ago. I know a lot of people that will watch this podcast may be leading a nonprofit or be around or on the board of a nonprofit. Frequently, they say, we just don't know what to do to raise funds. So let's talk through a few strategies. We use a lot of strategies at Accordis. I'd love to hear some thoughts from you also. What are three strategies you've deployed that you found successful?
Yeah. So I would say number one is storytelling. Being able to get your story out and telling it in a meaningful way, I think really changes everything. You have to get people there to really connect with what you do and really understand what you do. I also think number two for me is, when people are fundraising and outside of this world, they think it's just going to someone sitting down and saying, this is the Quantania Foundation. Will you give us dollars? And that's really the ask for the actual money, monetary, whatever that looks like, is 1% of it. It really is relationship building. So I spend a lot of my time doing a lot of touch points that are meaningful and genuine, but not related on money.
No ask. No
No
ask at
ask.
all. Yeah.
It's just, sending an extra, thank you, or just, I'll text, one of our corporate sponsors. They're building something right by my house, and I'll send him a picture of it. But just, it's a genuine of like, oh, I want to share this with him, but not asking for money. And then I would say third is always saying yes to meetings. Now that can be really daunting sometimes. I'm our only development person here at Quantania, so sometimes that's even hard for me. But taking a coffee meeting or going to a networking event, those are the things that end up turning into some of our biggest donors or our biggest partners. Is we said yes to a coffee meeting or a networking event where we met someone who introduced us to someone that we got $100,000 from. And I think those, when I think about how we got there, it's usually something as simple as like, oh, I went to lunch with a friend who introduced me to someone. So always saying yes when you can.
It sounds to me like as you're talking, you are gifted at and enjoy relationships.
Yes.
And that's just part of any kind of development, even developing a business or developing a ministry or developing a nonprofit or whatever that is. Any open door to have a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you just got to step into that. And
Mm-hmm.
there are going to be meetings you walk into and you get a name tag at the door and you walk in, you put it on, you're like, why am I here? And then
Yeah.
today, literally, I'm having an afternoon coffee with a very large business person in town that I
Mm-hmm.
met at some random event. I
Yep.
can't even remember the name of the event right now. But if you don't show up, the relationships aren't going to happen. You just
Right.
got to show up. It's
Yeah.
almost like clocking in. You need to have one networking event every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks or however often you can. And they're not called networking events. They're called Knoxville Area Nonprofit Alliance.
Yeah.
whatever. You just show up at the thing, or
Yeah.
it's a local fundraising event for another organization. You just show up and learn about what they're doing, and you meet somebody, and you're not pitching yourself right then. You're just building relationships.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's talk systems for a minute. So, Cordis, the company that sponsors this podcast,
Hmm.
my company, we are a back office for nonprofits, for ministries. We do accounting, database, marketing, kind of all the back office services. So I love the systems that people use. Tell me about the systems you use. What do you use for like a donor develop on the back end, like a donor management system, a DMS? Do you guys have a system you use?
Yeah, so we use Network for Good. So Bonterra is their parent company. And I'm actually very passionate about donor databases. I've used some really great ones and some really bad ones. So yeah, we use Network for Good. And I would say it's one, if you utilize it, it's really useful. It has a lot of tools, but again, you have to put that time in, but then you also have to have the capacity to be able to put the time in. So there's some interesting, logistics there.
Yeah, are you the primary person working in the system? So you're kind of the super user, and okay, so you
Yeah.
know it all. You know all that your organization knows is in your head.
Yes, it's on the K drive, is what we say.
The K drop. I love it. That's great. So, kind of as we're kind of wrapping up our conversation today, let's get away from the systems. Let's get away from the fundraising. All of that is important. All of that matters. Tell me a couple of stories of success from something your programs you've seen through your programs. And I'd love to get as granular as we can. Don't share any, confidential information, but as
Yeah.
granular as you can, just tell us a couple stories of success and how you guys have helped change people's lives through the foundation.
Yeah, so I would say the first one that comes to my mind, and him and his mom are okay with us sharing this. We have a participant named Josh. So Josh is 44, and he moved to Knoxville within the last year and a half. So they are a military family, so they've moved around a lot. And his mom Karen has shared, it was scary moving here. He's 44. Programming in Tennessee is you usually have waiting lists for state funded program or even day services. Sometimes you're waiting literal years on those waiting lists. So she was very nervous about what he was going to do when he got here and how he's going to make friends. Thankfully, she found us, found our website online, signed him up for an event, and he comes to almost every single We Adapt event that we do. And so that's really, and Karen says, he found his people through Quantinia. So I think that's been, such a great, our programs are important because, we're truly, Quantinia means caring community, and that's truly what we're doing. I would say one other
What's another
story.
story? Yeah.
Yeah, one other source of success I think is really important for us. So our program director Martha started a program called Participant of the Month. So what that program is each month we have a certain participant who will come and volunteer in our office. So we are a very small team. It's 3 full-time staff and then 2 like intern positions. So we have those participants come in, and so they help, send thank you cards. They do shredding. They help organize, and it has been such a fun time because we get to build that one-on-one relationship with them, which is hard sometimes because we'll have 20 participants at an event. But we had one girl when it was her month. It was her last day. Her name is Jennifer, and I brought my dog because she really wanted to be my dog. So it was just really fun. But at the end, she just said, "I love you all so much. Being here is my favorite thing ever," or something along those lines. And again, it's just those building relationships and being able to like pour into her on an individual level for an entire month. That was a few months ago, and she still talks about she can't wait to do it again.
How neat. So koinonia means caring community, right? That's the Greek
Yes.
word
Hmm.
that means caring community. As
Hmm.
we were initially talking, I was thinking this is the caring community, just caring for others. But it sounds like as you were talking, it is no, we're creating this community, and our
Hmm.
participants are part of the community. It's not just we're going to go help them. It is we're pulling people in, new people to town, people that have been in town forever, who
Hmm.
have special needs, who have, like you said, anything from ADD, ADHD, all the way through, as severe as you could imagine.
Hmm.
You guys serve those people.
Yeah.
So encouraging to talk with you today, Christy. Thanks for your time. And as you keep doing a good thing in Knoxville, anybody who's in the Knoxville area, reach out to Christy and find her. As you know, she likes talking to folks and meeting folks. If you know people that need the services that Coenidia Foundation provides, connect them to Kristy also. And on the Accorda side, if you are running a nonprofit or know of a nonprofit that needs help on the back office, we're here to help. So reach out to me. We'll leave the link to Kristy's website, the Coenidia Foundation website in the show notes, as well as our contact information from Accorda. So Kristy, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You
Blessings.
too. Bye.